Well, happy New Year, and welcome to a brand new adventure. This is January 1st of 2019, and my name is Samara Grace Daniels. I've been channeling Mother Mary for a little over 20 years now, and some of the people I'm sitting with here today in the beautiful room of Lois, my dear friend, have known me all those 20 years, and they still like me and they still listen. Go figure. So I feel like I am doing something right. I want to just share briefly for those of you that don't know me yet. Mother Mary is not only the mother of Jesus, which is already an amazing, amazing feat for anybody. She's also the mother for each and every one of us. So it doesn't matter what religion you were raised in. It doesn't matter whether or not you believe in her. She believes in each and every one of us. And so my understanding of Mother Mary has grown in these 20 years to imagine that each of us has a mother who knows every single thing about us and loves us anyway, who wishes for us only our deepest, deepest happiness, who wishes for us the joy of being able to create a life we love, friends we cherish, a family that brings us joy. And that the obstruction to that, the obstruction that I think she's going to talk about today, is really all in our head. And that whatever doubts we have, whatever fears we have, whatever self-judgment comes in the way of having that life, just to help you see and hear and feel a new possibility. So I'm hoping for today and the beginning of this beautiful new year that this broadcast today will bring you a taste of joy, will bring you a taste of love, and will, if nothing else, remind you how precious you are, and that every single one of us is every bit as important as anyone else. One of the first times I channeled Mary, she came forth in a large group of the Madonna Ministry, and she said, "There are no lesser lights. There are no lesser lights. We're all a light in the sky of God." And so I just want to share with you whatever she wants to bring forth today. I often don't know exactly what she would share, but as we've gathered and as you're listening to me, what she's doing is kind of reading psychically every single one of our hearts and choosing hopefully what will be enlightening and inspiring for you. So as Samara, I'm going to sign off in just a moment and bring in a slightly different energy and voice, the voice that I know and love as Mother Mary. Well, here we are again, new year. How many of you made promises and have already given them up? Well, you know, it's sort of a tradition in a way to start the new year and to think of new ways of doing things and new possibilities. But I guess what I want to do is take you back to when you came. So however many years you've been on the planet, roll it all back to when you came. And realize that when you incarnated, when you came as a child, as a baby into this world, you knew you were precious. Yes, you knew you were precious. You knew, and you carried this energy of harmony and love and well-being and fellowship and community. You carried that in your heart. You carried it in your spirit. That's why when people see babies, you can't resist. You want to, you know, touch their cheeks and hug them and love them and put them next to your heart. And you just, what is that? Certainly it's the preciousness of each child, but it's also something I want to remind you of as we bring you back all the way to whatever number of years you've traveled on the planet. what they had that you may have forgotten is knowing. Knowing. There was not yet discord. There was not yet a lack of congruence between who they knew themselves to be and what the world was telling them. So babies carry that perfection because they know, even if it's not conscious, even if it's not yet in their language, they know they are spectacular. They know they just came from the kingdom of heaven. They know that every cell in their body carries the energy of love. They know it. They know it. And all of you came in knowing that. You did. You did. So where did it go? Right? What makes it disappear? What makes it no longer congruent with you in your life? Well, every single one of you has your own story and your own experiences, and so I can't necessarily catalog all of that. But what I can tell you is that there was a point in time, perhaps you were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, when someone you loved, someone you respected, someone you trusted, all of a sudden, seemingly, was displeased with you. Perhaps they said, bad girl or bad boy. Perhaps they said, that was stupid. Perhaps they said, you're just too clumsy. You won't amount to anything. And like some sort of arrow, it goes into you because it's a disruptive chord. It's a disruptive feeling. Here's someone you love and treasure and trust saying, you're not that special. You're not that perfect. And so what begins to happen is that there's a split between your knowing and your desire to be loved. When you know, you just know love is all there is. And of course you will be loved. But when that split occurs, now you become a little bit more of a responsive rather than creative individual. You begin to notice, oh, if I do this, mommy says good things. If I do that, my teacher gives me an A. And so rather than fulfilling that inner destiny, rather than fulfilling that inner knowing that you came to experience, there's a discord, a disruption, and a split. Now, the knowing doesn't go away. It's still there, like a forgotten song for those of you that studied the Course in Miracles, where the notes and the chords keep coming back to you, like there's an appointment you need to go to that you've forgotten, right? And so over the course of time, one or the other becomes the dominant force in your life. Again, neither goes away. So if you become a slave, if you become managed by others, a part of you goes quiet, goes silent, goes perhaps even into a sense of darkness. Because your knowing wants to express, your knowing wants to dance and sing and be and play and rejoice in this life. And yet what you've noticed and what you begin to believe is, if I am myself, I will not be loved. How many of you have had that experience? If I'm really being myself, I won't succeed. I won't get that job. I won't be able to be married. I won't, you know, whatever your belief system begins to create. And there's enough evidence that you convince yourself that's true. Because all of the other people around you have experienced the same split. So if they're following, not their knowing, but their belief system, then naturally, that's what they want from you, right? So what I'm going to suggest for 2019 is what perhaps those of you that studied what Jesus wrote, actually what Jesus said, that was later written, he didn't write it. Know ye the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But what's the truth? What book is it in? Who's got it? You've got it. All of you have the knowing of who you are and what is true for you. And that's the exquisite difference, that some of you are quite convinced of certain things, but are they knowing, or is it a belief based in a reward system that you have followed for many years? And so what I'm going to invite you to do is tonight, when you have a chance, do a little meditation and go back to the day of your birth and have a little conversation with that little one. And ask your newborn self, what do you know that I need to know? What do you know that I need to know? And surprise yourself with the answers. Now, many of you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, is this going to get me that best job? Is this going to get me my new husband or wife or promotion? I don't know. Because you see, when you follow your knowing, you get a life based on your soul's promise. Let me say that one more time. When you follow your knowing, you create a life based on your soul's promise. Now, many of you are like, what? What was the promise that I made? Oh my goodness, I was just a little baby. What could I promise? You promised to shine your light. You promised to shine your light. Now, for some of you, that meant becoming a teacher. For some of you, that meant becoming a healer, or a mother, or a grandmother, or a father, or an aunt, or an uncle. For some of you, it meant loving nature. For some of you, it meant caring deeply about animals. You know, it's not what you are doing. It's what brings you more light. What makes you feel more alive? What makes you light up? That's your job. That's it. That's your job. And so I can't tell you that you'll have a mansion. I can't tell you that you'll drive a Mercedes. Perhaps you will. But what I can tell you is that you will know the joy of living your light. You will know the joy of living your light. And every day will be like the most wonderful masterpiece, because you don't know. Samara had it all in her head that she was going to Hawaii. And Hawaii's lovely. And she will get there at some point. But her knowing, which I remind her of almost every day, was that there was more still to accomplish and share, as she's doing right now in Chandler. And as soon as she let go of, oh, but, all of a sudden, all the joy of walking in a room and seeing a friend like Betty, that she's known for so many years, reuniting with Lois, that she's known also for a great long time, being in a room with people that share a love of spirit, of life, of love. She's not suffering. She's not suffering. And so this year of 2019 is really a very interesting time, because what you're already seeing is the split cast out into the larger world stage, right? Everyone is sort of jockeying to tell you that they're right. You know, I'm right. No, I'm right. I'm right. Let's build a wall. Let's do this. Let's do that. Whatever, right? What I would pray for you and all of them is to remember their knowing. Because the arguments are taking place in the system of reward and punishment. Can you see that? They're taking place in the system of reward and punishment. So that if you don't do what I say, then I'm going to take away your paycheck. Right now, there's hundreds of thousands of hardworking people not getting paid because other people are having a little tug of war, right? So rather than involving yourselves in that, unless you feel called to, speak to the little one who incarnated X number of years ago and say, what do you know that I need to know? And most often it is, you are a precious light of God, and you are here not to be subjugated by anyone or anything, including yourself. Because the harshest tyranny of all, the most wicked tyrant, is your own mind's subjugation of yourself. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when anyone tells you, including yourself, you don't have a right to be you. You don't have a right to laugh when you want to, and dance when you want to, and swim when you want to, and you know, you don't have that right. That's terrible. But then when you do it to yourself, oh, I better not. What will the neighbors think? Who cares? They're probably not paying much attention to you anyway. So let this 2019 be a year of liberation, a year in which you are reminded of that original knowing, and that whatever someone said to you, or a series of someone's said to you, promise yourself to correct that by now telling yourself, how beautiful, how beautiful, how lovely and grace-filled and glorious and wonderful you are. And then go and be that. Go and be that. Because in that process, the subjugation that is so large on the world stage diminishes, because each of you that liberates yourself removes that part of the subjugation that's on the world stage that is rooted in your own subjugation. Think about all of the masterful inventors. They were not listening to someone else telling them they couldn't do it. They just followed that knowing, that passion, that joy of creation. And all of you have that. So my invitation is to free yourself, free yourself, free yourself. Let this be the year of liberation, of gratitude, and no more subjugation. I love you all so much. And there are many with you. There's nothing stopping you, nothing stopping you from living the lives you came to live. Much love, much love. Namaste.